Hello, everyone. It's me, Mrs. Groner, and today we are going to complete lesson 2 of drawing our own beehive. Today, you're going to need the hexagon-shaped cells you drew with pencil yesterday. You'll also need colors and a pencil. That's it. Let's take a look at some cells from the inside of a real beehive before we begin coloring. Here we go. These pictures are from the book, The Busy Honeybees, written by Mrs. Gronert. So take a look at this. I wanted to look really closely at the cells. And when I look very closely, I can really see those hexagon shapes. Notice that? Then I look inside and wow, look at that. It's a honeybee pupa growing inside of the cell. Oh, I love how the honeybees are taking care of those pupa. That is so cool. And if I look further, I can see more pupa inside of those hexagon cells. Very cool. Let's look at another page and see what else we can see. Oh, look at that. These cells look very yellow. And I look here, wow, that one's kind of orange inside. And around the edges, it's a little bit darker looking as well. That's so cool. Oh, so you notice the colors and notice what's inside of those cells. We can even see this cell has some little tiny honeybee eggs. And I can really tell that it looks kind of darker around the edges. Ah, that is so cool. And this one's really neat too because it shows kind of the yellowy color and then darker inside of some. You can see the pupa inside of the others. That's really awesome. Okay, so how are we going to color our honeybee cells? Let's take a look. The first thing I want you to do is draw some honeybee eggs, some larvae, and some pupa inside of the cells. So I'll use my pencil for this. And when you color, your pencil drawing will still show up underneath. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to use my small honeybee cells that I finished. And I'm going to decide, maybe I want to have the larva and pupa in the center. So I'm going to draw some eggs, and the eggs are really small. So I'm just drawing a few little tiny circles for the honeybee eggs. See that? Little tiny circles. And then I think maybe around the edges, I'll add some larvae, which look a lot like little white worms. So I'm going to draw kind of a little curled worm there. And a little curled worm and a little curled worm. Look at that. There's my larva. But I want to show some pupa as well. And pupa are the honeybees that are almost full grown. So I think that I'm going to show that they have their 3 body parts, right? And then they're kind of wrapped in almost a type of cocoon. So I'll draw a cocoon around those. Now remember, honeybees keep nectar and honey in some of their cells, so I'm going to want those cells to be colored that way as well. So notice I have eggs, larvae, and pupa in my picture. Those are really important things to include. Now, how am I going to color that? The first thing I want to do is trace the cells, and I can choose a color to trace the cells with. Remember, I am going to be using colors for this activity, and I find tracing is a lot easier when I use a marker to trace. So that's how I'm going to do it. I think that I want to trace all of my cells with orange because some of the cells really look orange. So I'm going to trace around the outside every cell with orange. This will take me a while. So for this picture, I'll only do a few. I want to take and just trace around the edges of the hexagons so that you can see the shape even better. And it will look more like a real beehive when it's colored. So notice how I traced around the edges? You're going to want to do that for the whole page. I'm just doing a few right now. Now, what colors do I want to use for the rest of it? I noticed some browns and yellows and oranges in there. So I have some color pencils. You could use crayons or colored pencils or anything to kind of color those things. But I think maybe, oh, I even have a highlighter. Maybe I'll kind of highlight around the outside of the larva and pupa. There we go. Yeah, that's gonna look neat. So highlight around. You can really color this however you want on the inside of the cells, but you really want to make sure you end up coloring the whole page. So notice I've highlighted around the outside of those, but I want to color in the whole cell. So maybe I'll use a light red around it. Maybe I'll use yellow or orange on the inside. Ooh, that orange makes it look like it's full of pollen. Look at that. So cool. So when you're finished coloring, you should have something that looks a little bit like this. Now, I had a lot of fun using different colors of yellow. And over here, I have yellow and orange and red, and then yellow and orange on the inside of my cells to really make them look like the inside of a beehive and to add a lot of fun color. I hope you have fun coloring your cells. Remember, don't forget to add eggs, larva, and pupa to the inside. I can't wait to see what your finished cells look like. Have fun, everybody. See you soon.